Hello, welcome to another YouTube video. It's me, Ben Lister, showing you off my podcast collection here on YouTube. And today's episode 7 of the Chatbox podcast with Martin Kelner, the one, the only Martin Kelner. Hope you enjoy this interview, and I'll see you on the other side. And I hope it enjoys you. Be hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Chatterbox podcast with me, Ben Lister. And hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Chatterbox podcast. We have had a lot of big guests, so let's crack on, shall we? First of all, we travelled to Wivensey to meet poet Richard Harries, then drove back to Hull to meet club promoter Andy Yeoyer. Then we drove back to Hull to meet my friend Paula Cayley. Then we drove down south to meet my good friend and motoring journalist Alan Hyde. Then we went further south to meet the doctor, Neil Fox. And last time we had the one, the only from Compass FM, KCFM, and lots of other radio stations. It was Ross Carrick, but today it's a legend of broadcasting, Mr. Complete, an absolute pro and a broadcasting hero to many, of course. It's Martin Kelner. Hello, Martin. Welcome along.
Yeah, hello to you, Ben. I want to tell you, by the way, he's not a real doctor, Dr. Fox. There's no medical qualifications at all.
Sorry. How are you today?
I'm fine, Ben. Absolutely fine. Lovely to talk to you.
That's good. 5 questions today, if that's okay.
Yep.
You ready to rumble in the jungle?
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to rumble in the jungle, yes.
Let's go. Let's begin. Question 1. Where did you start your broadcast career?
Well, I basically started in Bristol. I was working in PR down there, and I did a few interviews, mainly for foreign radio stations. And then when commercial radio was going, I thought I'd like to work in commercial radio, properly. And started at radio, so it should be about 1970, about 79, round about then. I started on Radio Hallam in Sheffield. Started in the newsroom, first of all, doing the breakfast bulletins, and then went into doing my own show, late night show.
That's good, and it's a great start to your career. One of my friends worked for Radio Hallam, Chris Marsden.
Yeah, I don't know Chris. He's long gone by then. I mean, I left in 1980. So if, I doubt he was probably not even born in 1980.
And you're an inspiration to the next generation, because some of my friends use your content.
Do they?
They used your content as inspiration back in the day.
Yeah, well, that's nice to know. It's nice to know. I can't think what they would do with it, but it's nice to know they're using it.
Question 2. Who were your broadcast inspirations growing up?
Well, I grew up in the 1960s, so probably it was the pirate stations. My mum was from London and all her family, so I used to listen to Radio London a lot. Then when we were up in Manchester, I used to listen to Radio Caroline North. I probably listened to all of them at some time or other. So it was many of the pirate stations. And I also liked some of the comedians on the BBC. I would listen to stuff like Benny Hill and Ken Dodd and all sorts of Just a Minute when that first started. I'm sorry, I'll read that again. So it was mainly sort of either comedy on the BBC or the commercial stations, the pirate stations, people like Kenny Everett and Keith Skews, who I ended up actually working for. He was my boss at Radio Hallam.
Yeah, and also one of my favourite inspirations is the legendary Tony Blackburn. I don't know if you've ever had the pleasure.
Oh, I've had the pleasure. As Tony would say, I've had the pleasure. I've also had the pleasure of working with Tony Blackburn. He was on Jazz FM when I was on Jazz FM, and I wrote a book about people, sort of on the fringes of show business, if you like. And he was, I interviewed him up in Newcastle. He was doing the Chill Out Room in a sort of rave place in Newcastle. And so I spent a good day or two actually interviewing Tony, about his career and everything. So I'm a bit of a Tony Blackburn expert.
I'm planning to get an interview with him one day.
Yeah, well, he likes to talk. He loves to talk, does Tony. He'll tell you plenty. But
If I get
absolute. I mean, if you look at the world of the disc jockey, Tony Blackburn is the daddy of them all, really. I mean, he did the first show on Radio 1 and everything, so he's got to be the inspiration for a load of people, I would have thought.
Yeah, and one of my friends got to meet him a couple of years ago. Stephanie Hurst.
Oh yeah, well, I've worked with Steph as well. Steph at Radio Leeds.
Yeah, good presenter.
Very good presenter. Very good presenter. And an absolute radio. What Steph doesn't know about radio isn't worth knowing, to be honest. She is just. If I want to know what I was doing in Yorkshire, because I work for 3 or 4 stations in Yorkshire now, if I want to know what I was doing in a particular year, I'd ask her rather than try and find out for myself, because I can never remember. She knows everything, and about equipment technically. It's absolutely brilliant stuff.
I used to listen to her on the Capital FM back in the day.
Yeah, no, very good.
When she used to do it from Leeds.
Absolutely.
Because now everything's networked nowadays, which I'm not a big fan of. No,
me neither. And of course, it's for people like yourself who maybe want to get into the business. It's much harder when a lot of the shows are being networked.
Yeah, and one of my favourite presenters as well, who's recently got a drive time slot on Bauer, is Simon Mayer.
Yeah, I've been on Simon Mayer's show. I've done interviews about things about sport and stuff like that on his Radio 2 show, and also when he was on 5 Live.
Brilliant presenter. Question 3. What is your favourite part about the job?
I like it all. I mean, I've done it for so long that I feel I've sort of getting quite okay at it now. So, when you're doing something that you think you're reasonably good at, and people are prepared to pay for you to do it. And of course, at the moment with the pandemic, I can do it from home as well. So, yeah, I like it all. But I think what I like most is actually getting people on. We do a quiz at about 3:30 in the morning, and with a limited audience at 3:30 in the morning. But I enjoy that bit of the show more than I enjoy, sort of actually doing interviews with people and just the general run of the job. So getting people on and communicating, brilliant, love it.
Yeah, and also, did you because I remember finding a piece on YouTube, you did a piece about the late, great Dale Winton.
Did we? I can't. I did. I can't remember that. I know Dale Winton was a DJ at Trent that was long gone, I think, but that was in Nottingham.
Yeah. And also we have a lot of presenters over here, like the Drive presenters, Andy Comfort, James Hogarth.
Yeah, I know James. I've worked with him on the Night Network on the BBC in the North.
Yeah, and I also work with a guy whose inspiration is my radio mentor at the moment, Boss Pete Mills.
Yeah, I don't know Pete Mills. I mean, you're picking out a lot of people that I do know, but when you've been in it as long as I have, eventually you work with everybody at some point or other.
And we also have at our station recently Darren Leatham as well.
Yeah, well, I know Darren, and he tweets me a lot and always entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, and and it's such an honour to be talking to you at the moment.
Please.
And thank you for taking out the time.
Not at all. My pleasure. No problem at all.
Question 4. How has COVID affected your life and line of work?
Oh, it's changed it completely because up until the pandemic, I was going down to London every week. So yeah, because the show I do is Saturday morning and Sunday morning, if you like, so Friday night, Saturday night, if you prefer. And I would do that from London. Now, ever since the pandemic started, I've been doing it from home. So it's completely changed. You know, in some respects, it's great because I don't have to get the train down to London every weekend. Some respects it's worse because there's all sorts of people I would mix with in London, sort of friends. My brother lives down there. I've got a daughter who lives and works down in London. So, you know, I missed out on all that. But then again, it's been easier for me because I've just been able to sit at my desk where I'm sitting now doing the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great message. Yeah. Question 5. This is the last question on the list.
Right.
What advice would you give to young aspiring broadcasters?
Ooh, very difficult because, I mean, you sort of alluded to it yourself when you said all about the networking and everything, which means obviously, you know, where these stations that are now networked, they've got sort of one person doing the 10 o'clock in the morning show. You used to have around the country loads of, I mean, when I first went into it, it was expanding all the time, you know, right up until, say, the late 80s, early 90s, say, you were getting new stations coming on and everything. There was DAB just coming out. So people, you know, there was more space for more stations. And ever since then, since the, well, probably the new millennium, what we've, I say new millennium, it's 21 years old now, but what's happened since then is that it's just contracting all the time. I would advise people to do the sort of thing that you're doing and try and get a podcast going, try and get a bit of interest in that. You know what, it has to be what they always say, you know, try and help out on a voluntary basis where you can, hospital radio or community stations, that, you know, that sort of thing, and pick up whatever you can from there. And then eventually just, you know, they'll always, even if radio stations as such, radio as we've known it all these years, even if that continues to contract and maybe even eventually disappears, people will still want content of some sort. You know, people will want news, they'll want entertainment, that wherever they get it from, maybe they'll get it from podcasts, maybe they'll get it, you know, through Siri and, you know, speakers and that sort of thing. There'll always be a demand for people to talk to people. So yeah, stick at it, I would say, and try and get as much experience as you can, you know, whether community stations or hospital radio, various company stations. I know people who do, you know, who do announcements for Asda and, do you know what I mean? Sort of like in-store radio. There's probably companies will have their own radio stations. People always got a message they want to get across, and if you just keep practicing as much as you can and trying to get good at it, you know, there will be a demand. Whether it will be in radio as we know it now, I very much doubt.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant start, and that's a brilliant time to do it and try and experiment.
Yeah, just try, yeah.
Thank you for joining us here on the Chatterbox podcast, Martin.
You're very welcome.
Join me again soon for another Chatterbox podcast, but for now, please give it up for Martin Kellner. Thank you very much for listening, and that's a wrap. That was my interview with Martin Kellner, the legendary Martin Kellner. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it made you smile during this uncertain period. And yeah, please like, subscribe, and comment on my video, or don't like, or do whatever you want. I don't mind, really. I'm easy. So yeah, like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching. BL out, and that's a wrap.